Okay, let's add some keyframes. So the first half of the video that we just finished, we said, I wish I could remember where I put my things, and we added a behavior. The second half, we're going to look at the second sentence, which is in another group. So let's go ahead and close this group. And it says, the second group says, I wish I spent half my life looking for my keys. So here we have the words just sort of coming onto the screen in the traditional way. We've done a little bit of formatting, and we've added some little circles. Those are these little shapes that are up here in the shape palette. But what I want to do right here with for my keys, what I did right here, I've already done it actually, is I've added some motion keyframes. So what happens is here it just sort of jumps up into the frame. And those motion keyframes can be seen down here, right on the actual, right down in the actual timeline. And here's the first one. You always need two keyframes, one where the object is and one where it's going. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually clear these two keyframes by right-clicking and saying delete all keyframes. So now if I go back and I take a look, it's just sitting down here off the stage. So if I move it up, I says I spend half my life looking for my keys. So what I'm going to do with looking for my keys, first I'm going to move that, select it, I'm going to move it where I want it to begin. And I'm going to go up to my inspector, properties, and I'm going to look up here and I see all of these things that I can change. And here you have all these little dashes. Every time you see a little dash means that you can change or transform or rotate or scale, and you can add keyframes, and that's where it happens. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a position keyframe because I want to change the position of the phrase for my keys. But here's the interesting thing. You have to add a keyframe right in the beginning, and then I'm going to go a little bit into the track, and I'm going to add the second position keyframe. Now it doesn't look like anything happened because I haven't moved my text yet. So now I'm going to move my text up, and I notice that I now created a path. And the path is the path which the text will travel on. If I hit play, you'll see how it jumps up. If I wanted it to jump slower, I would spread the keyframes out and make them last a little longer. But in this case, the word comes by so quickly, I just want it to pop onto the screen. So I move those keyframes closer together and shorten the duration. Boom, it jumps up. Now this idea of adding keyframes is basic to every single element in motion. Every effect needs two keyframes, one where it begins and one where it ends. Okay, so all of these things that you see over here in the properties palette can be keyframed. As long as you see these little dashes, once you add a keyframe, the little dashes turn to diamonds, and it shows that you've already added keyframes. If you go into any of these other areas, if I pop open rotation, I can rotate, I can keyframe the rotation, I can keyframe any of these parameters that have to do with my text. So that's keyframing. One keyframe to begin and one keyframe to end. And whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you want your letters to come in from, that's what you do. A fun thing to do once you have this path is you can hold the control key and add a point. Once you add a point, now you can bend the path, and that's kind of fun too. So I go, boom, now it's going to come up and around, and I think that looks more fun. If I don't like that, I can control click and delete the path, okay? Or disable it. But as long as I have that path on there and I select that, I can curve it even more, just like our old Illustrator days. I can curve that path the same way because it's an anchor point. All right, next we're going to add some audio. So let's see what we got first before we go. Oops, let's deselect that first. Ooh. I wish I could remember where I put my things. I spent half my life looking for my keys. And we'll finish this later.